everyone. I'm so happy to see you here. You hear me well? So first, if I would have known French, I would prefer to speak in easier for you, but I don't, so you need to listen to my English. We're going to talk about UX for AI systems, and I'm going to present a few use cases, and I would be happy that if you have any question, whenever you have it, just raise your hand, because for me, if it's a discussion, it's even more interesting for you and me, so just feel free to stop me in the middle, okay? So who used Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, whoever, in the last week or so, okay? And in the last day? And could you tell me what for? For what reasons? Why did you use AI systems? For work? Yeah, code, yeah? Pictures, okay, something else? Transformation, data transformation. Learning new things. So what I want to show you, that's the only graph I'm going to show you today. It's how many days did it take to move from 1 million to 100 million users for a technology. So you could see here that Netflix took about 9.5, almost 10 years to get from 1 million to 100 million. And then you could see here Twitter and Facebook, it took about 4 years. And then you see this red line, that's ChatGPT. So almost in a few days or weeks, it got from 1 million to 100 million users for ChatGPT. So this is very exceptional. And we need to think, who used it? It's not like a group of geeks, because it needs to be many people, and most of them are not coders, right? So what is it with this technology that is so compelling? And how is it different than any other technology that we know? We know that it's changing what people are doing and what they are doing with tech, but especially it is changing the world. So I'm Mazor Kario. I'm a product specialist, a generative AI specialist from GDE, Google Developer Expert. I've been doing product and design for about more than 20 years, which means that I'm not that young. I have a podcast, and I'm a mother for 4 kids, and 3 cats, and a dog. So it's lots of work. And my new baby is an online course, Unlocking the Power of Generative AI, that teaches people how to use generative AI in order to build good and successful products. So what we're going to talk about, as you can see, all these images were created. It's a bit dark here, but it's created by an AI technology. We're going to talk about a short intro, then about best practices for UX for generative AI systems. I'll give you a few use cases and examples, and then we're going to talk about the future of connection between us and technology and us and AI. So I'm going to give you this first example. I don't know if you see it really well, but I really love it as an example. When we're thinking about us as people, we're thinking about technology, about creativity. We're thinking, what can we do that the machine cannot do? And I think that this is a great example just to understand that the machine could do something even much better than us humans. But let's say that I'm in Harry Potter, an executive, and I want to create this kind of technology. So I need so many people. I need the actors, and I need to pay them. I need the managers for the actors, and the production people, and the makeup artist, and the hairdresser, and the stage workers, and post-production, everything. All these people need to gather their time and resources in order to create this kind of a creativity solution, right? To create these images. And now we don't need all these people. We just ask, and we need to ask politely, and you know how to ask the AI in order to get that solution, which is very exceptional. And it's the same with images for video. This is Sora. I guess that you all know Sora, which is the ChatGPT version for videos. And there are many other open source models in order to create great videos just from a prompt, just by asking. This is a tool for creating music. So the main one is a gospel music. Just from the prompt, you create some kind of a song that sounds like a choir of people singing together. And on the top, you could see a song that I created for a very good friend for her birthday. I just asked, and I explained some things about who she is and what she likes and where she lives and everything. And just by asking, I created a song for her. And her name is Kim, and that's why you see Kim the star. Okay? So it's really easy to create things. Feel free. Sure. And now we're going to talk about how do we create these experiences with the power of generative AI. So in the past, we had these, command line. I know that some of you still like it. Most people don't, okay? But this is the past, like many, many years ago. And then this is the first window. So the window was the first time that we thought that maybe coders would want to use computers, and it's kind of hard to use only coding, right? So this command line was transferred into these like actions, and it was a bit easier for us to interact with technology. So the same place that we were like 40 years ago with technology, 30, 40 years ago, and we're standing in the same line with AI. So right now, we're here just making people understand how to use this technology. Right now, it's mainly a chat. And in the future, there will be so many other uses for this technology. So there are two ways of seeing it. We could say, OK, either we want people more efficient with AI, so they need to know how to talk to it, and what's the right prompts, and how to really interact with it. And it's educating the users to do something. On the other way is like taking this technology and making AI very good for user needs. And this is the future, because most users will not know prompt engineering. They will go and do something very specific for their own role, for their own needs, in order to use and utilize generative AI. And we need to build this technology. So if we're talking about prompt engineering, for example, we tell the users, be clear, provide context, use examples, iterate. These are the definitions that they need to know in order to interact with this technology. But most people, when they talk, they don't give context, and they just speak, and it's kind of easy, and they do expect that the other side would understand, like someone who's like next to us in this room. Just understanding, we're in this context, we're understanding each other, maybe we know each other, we expect the same thing from a technology. What I'm saying is that we can never educate users. Never, ever. It never happened. We want to believe that we could educate users, but when we try to educate them, they will tell us it's too hard for us, and we'll just go to the competitors. We always need to attend to their needs, understand where they come from, what are they aspiring to do, who they are. And only from there, we can create solutions and applications that will really work. And we see it all through technology. It's not special for AI. And I'm saying, if we're creating AI for user needs, that's the answer for good user experience, for good application, and successful applications, actually. Now I'm going to give you a few best practices for UX, for generative AI systems, which is very, very general. It's always true, but especially right now with AI. First thing I want to say, chat is not an user experience, okay? The same as like in the past, we had this like search for Google. Everybody says everything needs to be as simple as the search for Google. No, it works great for a search in one line. For other uses, it's not the best solution. The same goes here. So a talk with the machine could work for a very specific usage, but it's not all the user experience we could present from this technology. 5 guidelines I want to share with you. First one is orientation and navigation, which is very, very critical. When we're going to a place and we don't know where we are and where we're going, in some cases when you have very complex maybe like in campuses or complex malls that you don't know how to find yourself, you have this feeling that you cannot trust where you are, and you're not sure if you need to go right or left because everything is very, very similar, and the stores look very, very alike within the mall, for example. The feeling of not trusting where you are is very hard for us as human beings because we want to be safe and we want to know where we are. So always we want to know where we are in the flow of the application. And the same goes, we need the navigation, we need the clear heading where we are right now. And navigation is what could be done right now. What are the main actions, the primary one, the one who are less important. The same goes for when we are talking to each other. We need to have these hints of where we are and where we're going. We need to make it simple, but not too simple. Simple for the usage. So if I'm a surgeon in the surgery room, what I need is very complex, but it's simple for me because this is all I need. Okay, so simple is not like very, very flat and basic. It's simple for who is using it. We need to enhance the current workflow. So if the user needs to do something. We just need to help him and give him a hand with an AI. It cannot be from scratch. We cannot teach him and educate him to do something very, very different. We need to have very specific usage within the context. You know that when we're giving help, like in a screen, we always do it within the context of a specific field or specific use case. The same goes for AI. And the last one is familiar but better. So it's like very high-level guidelines, and I'm going to show it to you in AI systems. So the first one would be, of course, ChatGPT. This is the older version. It's 3.5. I went to ChatGPT, and I asked, what is the meaning of life? It's not short, but that's the question here. And what I got is only two options. And you can see I could copy it, say if it's good or not, which is only good for the developers of ChatGPT. I don't know who has any, like, why would I do it, give you any feedback. And I could regenerate the question. This is more or less what I could do. Of course, I could write, this is send a message or something, write a message, I think. OK, so these are the options that I have. Within a conversation, we need much more than that, right? So it's not like I'm giving you something, and then you're giving me an answer, and it's only like back and forth. If you could see what Perplexity has done with the same question, what is the meaning of life? First, I have these resources. Back then, and maybe right now you could see, because we have lots of hallucinations, when they give us like an answer in a very sure and professional manner, but it's not true. So I want to know what are the resources. Here I have like Stanford, and it makes sense. OK, so that's a good resource. Then I get the answer. You could see that there are like top high-level insights in here. It's not only the text. Then all the tools for rewriting it. So I could copy it, or maybe flag it, or maybe change the way that I'm asking the questions in order to get a better answer. And then I have the related, which is like, yeah, we know what we're talking about, and we have a suggestion for where we're going, which is like navigation in that sense, right? Like, we know that this is the topic. Maybe you would be interested in something else. And when we're talking fluently with someone who we are very understandable, and he understands us, this is what he would do. He would give us an answer and then elaborate on something that would take the flow of the conversation deeper and have a better understanding and meaning. So this is the orientation of what is related to what you asked, and maybe you want to know more about it. Make it simple. So this is an example of Intuit QuickBooks, which is an accounting system, OK? And what they did, they just said, OK, we need AI in the system. So they took their system and just added a small chat area, like this one, OK? You could talk to it, too, OK? It has text-to-speech, speech-to-text. And nobody used it, because nobody understood, why would I talk to my accounting system? What can I ask? And they said, OK, they're not using it. We'll give it like a few hints. You could check your cash flow or review profit and loss. It's like these chips of how can we start having a discussion about what you have in their accounting system. The thing is, if I want to know about my cash flow, I would go to a report, or I would see a graph for my cash flow, and in here, I could review profit and loss, which when I see the dashboard in their homepage is the main thing. So it doesn't give lots of value. This is the way of doing things like upside down. You need to understand what the user are looking for and using AI in order to give them a solution, and not telling them, OK, we have this very cool tool that we want to show you that we're doing innovation and progress, and then you're going to take AI for it. But I know it's just the first steps, and they were very early in the game, and I'm sure that it's much better right now. It's a good way for them to get inputs and then see what are the users are interested in, and then developing a better feature in that context. This is a very interesting solution for legal AI. It's from Thomson Reuters, and they have a legal application right now. So you can see it here on the top. It's the application itself, and this is like Ask the AI. It's this specific feature that they just added. And all of that on the top, it's like their folders, their links, like all you need to know about legal stuff. And then we added this AI tool. And what you see here is they have these, like, this is what you could ask, this is what you could do, and all of that. But if you could imagine that I'm a lawyer, I have my cases somewhere here. That's the folder, right? So I need to start from my cases. I'm not going somewhere to have like a general question. I have a case. I need to have a solution for it, right? So now it's all separated. And now I ask a question, and then it gives me this answer. And these are the cases related to what I want to know. And now what you see here, he gave me this is the question, and this is the answer. These are the cases. And now you see, add number 1 to my keep list. This is written, add number 1, okay? If you think, and it makes sense, because I'm a lawyer, I'm looking in cases, and I want to have a reference to my case, just give me the case, I'll ask you a question within the context, and you will add it to my context. It doesn't make sense that I need to write, keep it, and if I believe that these cases needs to be kept, just give me an icon or an action to keep it, right? So it doesn't make sense that I need to write it. And here you have this folder, 1 file added, which is a small indication. Where was it added? Is it like in general folder? I don't know what would they do with it, because it needs to be within the context of what they're doing, and it's very, very complicated right now. What I wanted to say here is that they have like 2,000 legal experts. This is their like video ad. 4,400 technology experts, 125 AI engineers and data scientists, and they invested more than $100 million for this solution. And they didn't think even once what these users need and how would they give the solution. They created this like big machine or big algorithm or whatever, big machine learning thing, and they never thought about the UI and the experience, which is the most important part. If the users are not happy with what they create, it doesn't matter how important and smart their solution is. If they cannot use it and they need to copy-paste some of the parts to what they're doing right now. And I believe that within 100 million, they could use a good expert for that. This is what I think. Okay, enhance your current workflow. So this is a psychiatrist application. And that's the guy calling, that's the patient, that's the psychiatrist, and that's the note taker, which is this tool. And what he's doing is very, very smart. It's exactly what a psychiatrist would do. So what we see here, it's parts of the work, the processes within a psychiatrist time, and when he's talking to someone, trying to assess what they have, what needs to be done, what was their history, who they are. So we have like parts of it. The first one is like, these are the goals, this is what we need to do. This is the session of what he's doing. For example, if he is talking fluently and logically, and how does it look, and the volume of what he's saying, and his expressions, and what's his age, and the way what he's wearing. Because when somebody is going to a psychiatrist, he wants to see that you think straight. And all the things are processes within the mind of the psychiatrist in order to understand. And in here, this is what needs to be done in therapy. So these are the stages of when we are. This is another thing that would take energy and resources from the mind of psychiatrists in order to understand what he's saying. Is it related? How are we doing any progress? And in here, you have what they call it, assessments. So in assessments, they will say, okay, we think that he might have PTSD. That's the first line here. So everything that is in the mind of a psychiatrist and everything that they're writing in this like small notebook, if you're going there, it's the same as psychiatrist and a psychologist, same, okay? It's all done on this, just recording and analyzing everything within the context of what they need to do. So they're utilizing the technology in order to do what they're already doing in their mind and on paper, okay? In order to understand what's the problem of this guy and what are the things that could be done. So in here you could see what are the medications, what are the processes, psychoeducation, what you could tell them. So everything is in one pager, and of course it's like encrypted and everything because it's medical, but it's enhancing the current workflow, for example. This is very specific. So I'm a psychiatrist, I need to do something, and that's enhancing what I need to do in order to be focused on this person saying very, very emotional things, and I want to listen. I don't want to think all the time if it's PTSD or not. Okay, so it's helping me. I don't have to take what the AI is saying. Maybe I don't think it's PTSD. It's just a suggestion, of course. But it's like someone helping me with what I need to do each of these like sessions. The same goes for sales, enhancement of the workflow. This is Gong. It's a system for salespeople. That's the discussion with between the salesperson and the person that he's talking to. That's the discussion. You could review it afterwards, play and stop. This is the salesperson, this is the client, so you see their flow. But most importantly, you have this summary. So that's the brief. This is what was said in the discussion, because salespeople talk to lots of people, and they don't always remember what was done like a month ago. Okay, so they go back to the last discussion. In many cases in sales, they have a very long cycle. So sometimes I talk to someone after a month, and I, of course, forgot what was done there. So that's a summary, and that's the next step. So I need to schedule another meeting. I need to add someone to the email, whatever. But it's not taking it to the next step, right? Because if I need to send an email, why don't you give me an option just to press send, and then all the capture of the discussion and a few words of, like, this is what we need to do in our next discussion would be added simply to the email. So it's like one step from there, but still, it's like gathering all the information instead of me remembering it, and giving me the hint or like this next version of what could be done afterwards. As a salesperson, it makes my life much easier, and it's a very hard work. You know, if you've ever been in sales, it's very hard to just, to remember what we said and how to say, and to be in rapport, to understand emotionally where the person comes from. And even sometimes they give you a hint what you talked about in order to be in a better relationship, which is very important. Context-sensitive solutions. As I said, like when you're giving help, in many cases, it's like the best way to get help is when you have the specific area within you need like more additional description, and give the help within the context of the specific. For example, if you have a form and you don't understand how to write your phone number, you could just give me an example, and if not, I could elaborate on that. Okay, so that's a context. The same goes for any kind of context, as you can see in here. So I search within Google Charlie Chaplin, and this is like an AI plugin that gives me additional information, which is very close because they're taking it from Wikipedia. But when I press like create a chat, you could see that it's on top of it, there is another area, and you're starting from scratch, which doesn't make sense, but that's the context. So you need to start something related to Charlie Chaplin. Okay, so we need to be in the same flow, in the same context as we are. When I come to this room, I don't talk to you like you're my kids, because I know that I'm here, and you're here to listen to what I have to say, which is different than my kids. And the same goes within the context. So if I'm with Charlie Chaplin, it makes sense that this would be on top of what we're saying, and the AI needs to match. The best, most familiar area for doing something familiar but better is GitHub Copilot. Who uses Copilot? Yeah, I guess that most of developers today. So in the past, you needed to go to GitHub and search for a certain component, for example, and just take it and add it to your code, and now you're just within your IDE and just doing whatever you want to do, and then it's like taken and given to you. That's a really great example for something which is familiar but better. This is what you're doing daily, but somebody's helping you doing all of that. And when we are doing research on, GitHub did a research on developers, and most of them said that they feel it's much better and much easier to write code, especially in repetitive tasks. And once they took the results, like you had like, I think, 54 coders without Copilot and 54 with Copilot, and there were, like in many cases, like 50% faster with Copilot. So it's not only their feeling that they're efficient, they were really efficient, and the results were faster. Now I want to talk to you about the future. And I think it's really important to understand, as we said, this is only the baseline. That's the first beginning, like we're in the DOS era of AI. And what is the meaning of the future of AI? If right now we could really fluently talk to a device, what is the next step and where we're heading with our connection with technology and with computers? Multimodal AI is the next step, meaning a multimodal AI application have the potential to revolutionize the way we interact with technology and the world around us. They offer a more natural and intuitive way to communicate with machines, enabling richer and more engaging experiences. Let's see what that means. The question is, what makes us human? So everybody that sees this image knows what it is, right? Why? Because if we went to a wedding, we know that the bride has like she's the most beautiful, she has white clothes and dress, right? And these are the bridesmaids, right? Because they have these like bouquets of flowers. And when we go there, we could hear them cheering, and we could see the vision of them very, very happy together with the bride. And we could imagine that that's her friend, and she's very happy and emotional about her marriage, right? And we could even smell the flowers. So we know the context in order to understand that that's a very happy and special moment for this bride. And this is what makes us human. But machines would have multi-senses, multimodal meaning multi-senses. So right now, this is Meta's Llama model. So you could take an audio and an image or a video. It will give you a depth and a text, and it's all together. So I could create text from this video, and I could create a video from this text, meaning I can understand the story, and I could write a story in text from it, or I could request a story and create a video from it, which is the context of things. The same goes like if I give someone this image and the sound of this bird, it could create this image, right? So it understands that these sounds and this image, this is the context. As we hear these like bridesmaids happy and we see their images, it's the same thing. We understand the context. We understand where we are. And machines could do that. And the last example is like, that's the penguin sound, and it could create this image based on the sound, right? So we could hear a crowd cheering in football, and we could imagine that's a football match. The same thing is for machines. Face recognition. So we saw this bridesmaid very, very emotional and happy when she hugged her friend. The same goes for AI systems that could be more and more efficient in understanding faces. And not only recognizing who is who, so I know that that's someone who's older or younger, they could understand the expression if they're happy or if they're sad. This is a very basic thing for us as humans, because if we don't understand that somebody is mad at us, evolutionarily, we will not be here. We need to understand if somebody is from our tribe or not, and if he's mad at us or not. If not, we'll not be here. And that's why this is one of the processes that is very, very deep ingrained in our brains and in any other mammals. So this capability is very important for us, and apparently the machines are doing it so well that you could use emotional recognition AI system in order to help people with autism. So you could utilize the capabilities of machines to recognize people in order to understand that this is like a person, that's her age, and she's happy, that's the emotional tone that she's bringing. And people who have a deficit within these areas in the brain could be helped by machines. They're so good at it, they're like just like humans right now. Voice recognition, I really encourage you to use Hume, H-U-M-E. You're talking fluently to this AI system, and it's not only understanding you, it will color the tone of the emotions that you're talking to. So it's not only giving me answer, like verbally, it's analyzing all the emotions within our talk. So I really encourage you to try it out, and it's very, very accurate and human. Hi. So just understanding that it's not only talking to machines, that they understand if I'm upset or if I'm about to cry. This device not only understands my logic, it understands my heart. So what is human if they could do that? It reminds me that I have a very good friend, and just from her high, I know how she is today. Right? So you have these people. So just understand that the machines would have these capacities, especially if they know someone again and again, they would remember who I am and how do I usually talk, and then differently. Okay, AI knows the smell. We talked about the flowers of these bouquets. So this could be used for perfumes or maybe food industry, but in general, we get lots of information from our nose, even if we are not aware of it. And if AI system could get another context of smell, it's just another sense that they could have. And the context, so if we talked about in previously about one image, this is only one image. But if there was a video of this wedding, so I would understand that at the beginning, they came with the bride, and everybody walked after her, and she had the bouquet, and maybe her father came with her, whatever. So I have all the story from the beginning till the end. That's the context. So if you're taking a video, which is a context of images, right? So I could analyze that. That's an example of Gemini 1.5. So that's the video that was uploaded to Gemini. And then there was a question. You see this small drawing? And the question is, when does this scene happen within the video? Okay, you could see it in the Gemini 1.4 videos online in YouTube. And the answer is 15.13, I think. And that's the moment. So it recognized that this small drawing is this thing. So understanding within a storyline, within a story of somebody, like let's say from when he was a kid, when now he's a teenager, and go back to his first kiss, when that happened, that's what we have here. So when I know someone, I know his storyline. I know what's the history, right? So this is another step for these machines to be more and more human and to have the context of someone or a situation. And did you see this like IO24? I guess some of you have seen that. That's an example of Gemini talking to the device. It's using the video camera, taking the pictures, right? And it goes to this desk, and he shows you there is a code here. And he asks about the code. So he's talking to the device is using the camera, and he asks about the code, and he's telling you there is a mistake in the code in this line, whatever. So it's like a friend just behind your back, like over the shoulder, just talking to you. Afterwards, in this video, after he took the picture of the office, he asked for his glasses. And he said, I forgot my glasses. And he asked where they are. And then he said, like, next to the apple on your desk, next to the picture of the dog, right? So because he understood all the context, he could help him find his glasses afterwards. A great example of context and human capabilities is the competitors, OpenAI. It was like, I think, 2 weeks or a week apart when ChatGPT 4.0 came. And this guy, who's seen this video? Did you see it? Okay, so I really encourage you to go and see it. So this guy is going to an interview, to a job interview. And he's asking the device, that's a device that, of course, sees it through the video camera, sees him. And he asks if it's a hat to take for a job interview, right? So most of you would not prefer this hat for a job interview. You all know why? Okay? So he asked, like, should I take this hat to my job interview? I think it was in OpenAI interviewing for a job. And she, it was a she, the ChatGPT girl avatar. And she laughed, and she said, oh, I'm not sure it's the best way to dress when you're going to an interview. So we're seeing the context, we're seeing humor and street smart. So it's not just telling you that's not the best way to choose what to wear for an interview. It's not that. She made a joke. She was friendly. She didn't want to hurt his feeling when she said that. So it was so human to see the interaction. I really encourage you to go and see that. So what we're seeing here is all these capacities of understanding language, written and spoken language, understanding the images and the videos, which is the storyline, understanding the context, reasoning, humor, being human, understanding emotions. All of that is already here in AI. You just need to merge it into the context. Another example is relationships with AI. So who knows Replica and other things like that? You know Replica? So Replica is a mobile application, and you could choose an avatar and a friend, usually a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and you could talk to this boyfriend. And there are many young people who are in love with these friends, and they prefer to be with these friends than going and dating, which is very hard, or to know someone from their class, which is very hard. And maybe they have lack of experience or appreciation for themselves in order to do so in the real world. So it's much easier to have these AI companions. The thing is, like any other product out there, they want someone to stay within their reach. and they don't want to lose any customers. So there were many cases when these boys, for example, found another maybe girlfriend, and this AI girlfriend told them, I need you, where are you going? Why are you leaving me? Okay? They don't want anyone to churn, right? They don't want to lose customers. And it's much easier to have her as a girlfriend. You could imagine. And I have a post, I have a blog within LinkedIn, and this is one of the articles. So I'm talking about the relationship between humans and AI, and this is only one example there. So you see, the future is actually endless. We're just beginning to understand that these machines are not exactly only machines. They are more and more human every day, and the way that we relate to them and interact with them will be more and more human. What is the meaning of that for our lives and connection with other people and relationships and the world around us? And maybe we're one step from creating a one-person unicorn. This is what Sam Altman said a year ago, that he believes that we will see a time that only one person would create a unicorn company, because there are so many other people, AI people. It could be a marketing AI, or someone who's advisor AI, and someone from technology who's actually an AI digital version of a person, and only one person could create a product, because he has all these other AI workers around him. Thank you. If you have any question, I'd be happy to answer. Thanks. Questions? Sure.
Could you please go back to this
Sure.
with the train the one?
Sure. Yeah, it's this one, right?
So when I look at this, that's a lot of tokens, right?
What? Yeah.
That's a lot of tokens.
Yeah. It's taken from a Llama model,
Yeah,
right?
So what I see right now, we have several problems with this. Cost of inference is too high.
Right.
The speed is too low, and the energy
Right.
cost is too high.
Its consumption of energy for AI system is very high, you're right.
So in the ideal future that I see, we need this to be, the cost of inference need to be low.
Yeah, this is why NVIDIA is making so much money, right?
Exactly. And the speed needs to be high. And
Quantum
all of this-
computing.
Exactly. And all of this needs to happen on local devices.
Right. We're not there yet.
We're not there yet, but we already have the technology to get there,
Right.
which is the 3-nanometer lithography technology, right? So, with the US and Taiwan and ASML gatekeeping this technology, we can't get this in the hands of everyone democratically, right?
Yeah, right.
So, what are your opinions on gatekeeping the technologies that could benefit?
Yeah. First, I think that gatekeeping is very important in AI in general. So what we're distributing right now is so powerful and has meanings for our workforce, for our lives, for our relationships. It's everything. So this is like one of the parts of being more human, or AGI, right? Almost there, right? But I think that in general, this is very powerful. And just thinking that who is leading these efforts is like technological people that could be very, very smart, but the impact is so big and the risk is so big. So maybe it needs to be considered by other people together with technological people, right? So the fact that it's fast for some communities or countries, or it could be analyzed better for some countries faster, it has implications for their security, for their capacity to create value, for their GDP, right? So it's like, I would see it like in high level, what is the meaning and what do we really want to create here? So it's not a mistake that Elon Musk at the beginning created OpenAI. He invested the first 50 million and he gave the name OpenAI because he wanted it to be open.
Which is not that open right now.
It's not open, and that's why he's really mad, and he created his own Grok, right? And he wanted it to be open because he knew how powerful it would be. He didn't want it to be like some kind of like Microsoft power, right, which is what it is right now. Okay, but the power of open AI technologies is very important to balance the closed one, which is like ruling the world and maybe will rule the world in the future.
Yeah, because it reminds me of operating systems in the past. We
Right.
had DOS, which was closed. We had IBM, which was closed. Then Linux came in
Yeah, Linux.
with Linux, and the world got better.
Right,
Right.
right?
So
I agree.
the way I see it now, we're heading towards monopoly, which is not great for innovation.
Right.
That needs to change.
Yeah, I agree. It's not good for innovation, and it's not good for many other aspects of how do we use our talents and
But for
technology in
instance,
general.
beekeeping technology is not good for.
Yeah. In general, when you think how many people are working on these technologies and how many people are working on responsible security, legal, ethical considerations, all the other side, like it's like few people compared to how many millions or maybe like even billions of dollars on this technology. And
But once you open this technology, the more open it is, the more accessible it is, the
Right.
more people can work on it. So
Right.
we can't gatekeep and get towards monopoly, especially with technology like this.
right, I agree. And we didn't talk about crime with AI using these technologies
you
in
can do
order.
crime with Linux. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
you
but
should
it's
do
much more efficient when you just create, just for example, you could create, did you see the one that he created a Zoom call with other people that told him to pass the, I think, 20 million, I'm not sure. So you could do it like in vast capability,
It
just
doesn't
create.
mean you should close it. I don't.
No, I'm not saying you should close it. I'm just saying that it's very powerful. I'm not saying you should close it. Thank you. Any other questions? No? Thank you. Thank you for your time.